Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we're going to talk about what to do when we feel disconnected. How do we still get the information we need to make a decision when we are transitioning into a different frequency, when we're clearing, which usually they're the same thing. When we're clearing, we're transitioning into a different frequency. We're clearing out everything that's not in the frequency we're going into with our body. So we're kind of in between. So when you're in that in between space, a lot of times you're not going to be able to hone in on what you're supposed to do. What's the highest line thing to do next? Because when you're in that clearing space, all those emotions are clouding it. They've got to clear before you can get to the vibration and see everything really clearly. And even when you get to that vibration, normally you have to kind of get above that vibration to really see why it all had to happen that way, because you're just seeing a piece of it. You're still seeing a fractal when you're in that vibration, so you have to even go above that. But I want to focus today on that in-between space when you are disconnected and you don't have your normal access. And I've been a really big clearing the last week and a half, really for about 2 or 3 weeks, but this one's been a bigger one, and I have felt the disconnection because I have a lot of emotions around something and trying to figure out what's the right thing to do and not rushing into a decision about something. So you don't have the vision you normally have. Normally I'm not really shocked about anything that happens because my vision, I see so far in advance that normally by the time something happens, you're just waiting for it for so long. You don't really get excited about it. Whereas when you're a human consciousness, because you don't have that vision, everything that happens can be kind of exciting. But when you get into the higher consciousness states and anchoring in those realities, you don't really get the, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, because you've been waiting for it for so long. You've seen it coming for so long. And sometimes we get stuff that we know it's going to work itself out. We know the decisions we made along the way were highest aligned. We felt confident in that. We knew that. We knew we were supposed to do something. It just felt like it was what we were supposed to do. And then we're in that in-between state, clearing all the attachment we had to the old. We haven't quite seen the new yet. And we're kind of looking and waiting for the new, whether you're waiting for a new partner to come in, and that doesn't have to be romantic. Normally they're not romantic, but I always like to preference that, because when I say partner, everyone immediately goes to romantic. It doesn't have to be romantic. Because someone else to come in to assist you with something. It could be, someone to partner with for some type of work venture. It could be a new place you're looking for, a new car you're looking for. No matter what it is, and it doesn't really matter what it is, look at what's going on around you, because if you ask for assistance when you're in these states, you will get it. You will always have your higher aspects assisting you to show you what's not aligned. And I just want to stress that, to show you what's not aligned, because that's normally what they're going to show you. Meaning that there's something coming that's going to be highest aligned and it's not here yet. And perhaps we're being impatient. And I've done a couple videos about looking for another vehicle and the impatience I've felt doing that, because I've been using a rental car, and my human has wanted so hard to just get something and just move on. But I knew none of those were right. So just to give you some examples on what can happen and what we need to look for, and what you might not have noticed when these things happened when you're in your human consciousness, you're just not as aware when you could see the red flags, because you weren't open to what you were trying to show yourself. But no matter what, when you get into your higher consciousness states and anchoring in those realities, even if you're transitioning, you're still going to have signs and signals that, hey, this is not the right way to go. So some I'm going to share. And like I said, this feels kind of like a minor thing in a sense. When I've been trying to, and I'm going to emphasize trying, because my human's wanting to push it a lot more. But I'm also at a state where I understand that's what I'm doing, and I can kind of put the reins on myself. And I know I'm also clearing a lot of programming I have around trying to rush to a conclusion on this and get to the next step, because it hasn't been highest aligned yet. And I'm still working through the programming to bring in the next thing, because the next thing is going to be so awesome once I can get there. But I have to go through the clearing first, and I can't rush it. And if I rush it, I just get really tired. And it kind of feels like in a way, it feels like it's kind of beating your head against a wall. In a way, that's kind of what you're doing, but you are working through programming too, but there are easier ways to work through it. But depending on how deep the program is, you might have to have some type of physical experience to get through it. So just as an example, so I saw a car. I thought, okay, that's kind of cool. Let me go look at that. Even though I knew I hadn't had my sign, because I've been depending a lot in this space of this in-between I'm in on external signs. And I usually do wildlife signs because I don't attach, I used to attach it to people. I stopped attaching signs to people because I realized I had some mess going on with that, who I wanted to, I had a little bit of entanglement there. So it was always something nature related. A certain bird I was looking for, a fox, a rabbit, it didn't matter, a deer. So I knew the portal to this next, the new vehicle that was supposed to come in was not coming in until I saw a deer. I knew that, right? Like that portal wasn't going to open. Now, if I explained this to someone in their human consciousness, they would think it was bonkers, right? But I knew when the portal was going to open, and I set my marker as that. And I also could tell in my dream state, I was looking through a lot of vehicles, right? I could see and wake up and I'd have all these cars flashing through my head, because no matter what state you're in your dream state, you're always looking through different timelines to see what you want to be part of. Even in your human consciousness, when you're asleep, you're at a higher consciousness and you are looking through different realities to see, well, this is what I want. I don't want that one. But when you're in your human consciousness, you don't choose consciously. So you're doing an unconscious choice of things to experience to get your vibration up. And normally those things are not that pleasant, because that's what the human needs. The human needs that push to get us to something else. That's why people say, oh, you don't grow with only the great things happening. And in a sense, the human can't. The human has to almost lose everything to really want something else, and to see that it really doesn't work when you try to do it in the human way. That's why the higher realms are so backwards, and everything comes in kind of backwards and sideways. And I knew that. But when you're working on a deep programming, and for whatever reason, this not having a vehicle has really hit that programming for me, even though I knew I was supposed to sell the other one. I knew that was what I was supposed to do to clear up some timelines, but it's really hit that thing for me. So I hadn't seen my deer. I knew the portal's not open, but part of my human just wanted to do something. So I'm like, well, let me just do something. I'll go look at this car, even though deep down I knew, right? We all kind of always know. So I was driving, and there was still a part of me that was like, oh, I wish this could just be over. I could just get this car and we could be done. Really, maybe this will be it, even though I knew it wasn't going to be. But I asked when I was driving, I said, okay, just give me a sign on what's going to happen here so I'll know for sure. And I was driving. The first thing, and look at what catches your eye, right? First thing that caught my eye was a broken down car on the side of the road, which is my first, this is an X. This is 1X for this vehicle. Kept driving. And I saw a license plate that said Doom on it. It's like, okay, I have a broke down car, I have Doom, and I'm still driving because I'm almost all the way there now. There's no point in turning around. And there are other purposes to go there. It's not just about the car. There's other reasons I've got to play in this reality that I'll understand more when I get there, especially when I feel kind of disconnected and I'm in that in-between state. So keep driving. And then I see a sign on the license plate that says bad egg on it. And then I knew, I was like, that's 3 strikes. There's no way I'm going to purchase this car. I knew it was going to get closed down anyway, because when you're in your higher consciousness realities, you can't even do something that's not aligned. Your universe just shuts it down, because you are telling your universe, shut it down. I don't want it. So the minute I know I'm pushing it, just shut it down. And then I had the 3 X's. So I hadn't had my sign. I had my 3 X's driving out there, so let's just close it out. So it was funny because the minute I got there were already people there looking at the car, and they bought it. So I just talked to the people a little bit, chatted. So it was still a purpose for me to be there. I also knew that if I hadn't have been there, it wouldn't have pushed those people into buying it. It kind of pressured them in a sense, because because of their human programming, when they saw someone else looking at it, all of a sudden they wanted it more. And it was, that was at that moment, that's a line for something they have to do. Though I knew in my timeline it was not. So my universe closed it out very quickly. But I had all the signs. So you can always look back in your human experiences that didn't go well, where you tried to push stuff. and you could have seen signs, but you didn't recognize them. They didn't catch your eye. The more conscious you are, the more these things will catch your eye. So even when you feel disconnected, you're still connected. You just might not have, you might have to go through it in a different way to get to the answer than your normal, oh, I just know this. Like deep down, did I know this? Yes. Did the external signs help me in that moment? Yes. Because my human needed that in a sense. I just needed to see that, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a no, even though there's a part of me that just wants this to be done. And you're going to find when you're in these in-betweens, a part of you just wants it to be done. And it just wants it to be done in a really, really strong way because you want to go on to the next reality and you feel like you're kind of in this in-between state. That's completely normal, okay? That's completely normal to be in an in-between and to not have the sight. Because think about it, you're like a radio antenna. You can't pick up on the new frequency yet because you're not in that vibration yet. So you can't see anything in that frequency. You might dream about it a little bit. You might be able to hit it here and there, but the full picture you're not going to see. And like I said before, you're really not going to see the full thing until your consciousness can go above that, even though your body is still set in that frequency. The consciousness you can hit is always going to be above where your body's going to set. Bringing your body up is what takes the most time, in a sense. I don't like the word time, but it does go across time just because we have so much to clear. And you go through different experiences to clear stuff. Like for me, I needed this experience to clear stuff I wasn't going to get to on my own because I didn't even realize it was there. I never would have realized not having a car was going to put me in a tizzy in this way, as it has put me in a tizzy. My human is in such a tizzy that, you know, I've really tried to kind of focus in on, you know, one thing. And because it does take up a lot of my day looking for stuff, which some of that's my human wanting to do it. Some of that I feel like energetically, I just want to get an idea. Even though I knew at this point it was starting to open up, you know, I knew exactly the car I was supposed to get, the miles on it. I knew everything about it. I just had not seen it yet. I haven't seen it in the physical yet, but I knew the direction it was starting to go, which was telling me it was coming in quicker because I was starting to see. But when you're in the in-betweens and you can't, look for the external sign and ask, give me a sign. You'll know when you see it. Now, that does not mean you're going to go listen to someone's opinion unless it really resonates with you that, oh yeah, that's what I needed to hear. Because when don't feel like you're in your highest consciousness state and you feel like you're a little shut down because you're in a clearing mode, listening to someone that's in a unconscious state, just go do the opposite from that, unless it really resonates with you. That's normally what I do. When I'm really in that in-between, I will wait until I'll wait and hear what someone I know lives from a very unconscious state. And you know, it's not judging it. It's just you're observing the energy of kind of where their normal aspect lives from. And in a way, they're matching the unconsciousness still in me. I'll usually just do the opposite. What did you tell me to do? Okay, I'm going to go do the opposite. So you're never disconnected. There's always going to be a sign. You just weren't able to see them before. But now that you're increasing your consciousness, you'll be able to see them. And you'll know when it's a shutdown. And normally your universe will shut them down anyway. You can just say, just shut it down. I just want highest line and just shut it down. You'll be surprised the power of your words because you're the one directing the whole thing. Okay. Keep practicing the art of intuition.